Okay, let's unpack this idea. It feels, well, maybe a little uncomfortable at first. You spend your whole life pretty much working, earning money. It's like the fuel you gather.
Right. Your life energy converted into dollars.
Exactly. But then for so many of us, we just save it. We push all the enjoyment, the actual using of it, off into some vague future.
Mm-hmm.
Are we really, optimizing our lives that way? Or are we just wasting that energy, missing out on things we could be doing now?
That is precisely the question Bill Perkins tackles in his book, Die with Zero.
Mm-hmm.
And, he comes from a background in energy trading, so he brings this very analytical optimization mindset to life itself.
Interesting. So not just about finances, but about life.
Exactly. His core belief is that your life isn't measured by, say, your final net worth. It's measured by the sum total of your experiences. It's all about maximizing fulfillment and, crucially, minimizing waste.
Oh.
And that waste, he argues, often comes from saving too much for too late.
Okay. So shifting gears from just saving on autopilot to being really deliberate about experiences.
Yes. And that's the first really big idea that jumps out. Prioritizing experiences, but also thinking about when you have them.
Right. Timing matters.
Immensely. I mean, the research backs this up too. Experiences generally bring more lasting happiness than just buying more stuff. Perkins calls it the memory dividend. You get the joy in the moment, sure, but then you keep getting returns. Every time you remember it, tell the story, look at a photo. That happiness pays out again and again. It compounds like interest.
A memory dividend. I like that. And the book really pushes for getting that dividend early in life, doesn't it? Even if money's tight.
Yes, absolutely. There's that kind of wild story he tells about his friend Jason Rufo.
Oh, yeah.
Making like $18,000 a year in his early 20s.
Mm-hmm.
And he borrowed $10,000, wait for it, from a loan shark.
Wow. A loan shark. To do what?
To backpack around Europe for 3 months?
Yeah.
Now, obviously, that sounds incredibly risky. And, we're definitely not saying go find a loan shark.
Right. Yeah. Disclaimer needed there.
But the point, from Perkins' perspective, was that Jason saw it as an investment in peak experiences when he had peak health, peak freedom. He figured the opportunity cost of not going then was actually higher than the financial risk. Those memories, he felt, were priceless and just wouldn't be the same if he waited until he was 50.
So even if you don't have much cash when you're young, the idea is to value those free or cheap experiences, like exploring locally, hiking, just quality time.
Exactly. Your capacity to enjoy many experiences, especially physically demanding or time-intensive ones, is often highest when you're younger, regardless of your bank balance.
Okay, that makes sense. Invest in experiences early. But what about, the other big question, leaving money for kids, for family?
Ah, yes, the inheritance issue. The book takes a pretty firm stance here, too. It really challenges that traditional idea of saving up a big pot to leave behind only after you die.
So what's the alternative view?
Give it while you're alive. The argument is that giving money to your children or the causes you care about has far more impact when you're around to see it. And, crucially, when they might need it most. Maybe for a down payment, starting a business, navigating those early adult years.
Instead of getting a windfall when they're, in their late 50s or 60s? When they might already be financially secure or past their own peak spending years?
Precisely.
Yeah.
There's data showing the probability of receiving an inheritance actually peaks around age 60. Giving while you're alive means you can time it better, make it more impactful.
And you get the joy of seeing the impact yourself.
Exactly. That's part of your life experience, too.
Okay, this flows into the third big idea, which I think this one might be the toughest for people to really internalize, the declining utility of money.
Yes. It's not just about having less time left as you get older. That's part of it, but not the whole story.
What's the other part?
It's about health. It's a bit paradoxical, isn't it? We tend to accumulate the most wealth later in life. Our net worth often peaks well into retirement, maybe our 70s.
Right, you've finally got the biggest pile of money.
But concurrently, our physical health, our energy levels, our ability to do certain things is often declining.
So you have the money, but maybe not the health or stamina for that round-the-world trip or skiing or even just easily managing strenuous activities.
Exactly. Money isn't the only resource you need for experiences. You also need health and time. If you save excessively for a future self who might be too frail or unwell to fully enjoy those savings,
then the actual value, the utility you get from each dollar has gone down.
Precisely. It represents, in a way, wasted life energy. The energy you traded for wealth you can no longer fully deploy for enjoyment.
So bringing it all together, Die with Zero. It's a provocative title, maybe a bit shocking. But the message isn't literally aim for a zero balance on your deathbed, is it?
No, not at all. I mean, that's impossible anyway, right? You don't know when that will be. It's more of a framework, a mental model. It's about shifting away from living on autopilot, driven by those ingrained saving habits or maybe fear, towards a much more conscious, optimized approach to spending your life energy.
It forces you to ask the hard questions. What experiences am I putting off? What am I sacrificing now by just defaulting to save for later?
Yeah. It's a challenge to those deep-seated beliefs about security and money.
Are you missing opportunities today, waiting for a someday that, well, it might look very different than you imagine, or you might simply be less able to enjoy it when it arrives?
It's really about optimizing your life for the maximum number of fulfilling experiences distributed across your entire lifespan, not just stacking up wealth for the very end. A different way to think about a life well lived.